Get turned on by getting bigger, fatter, or rounder? You may be a gainer. Welcome to Sex Talk with JoJo Bear. I am JoJo Bear and I'm a somatic sex and intimacy coach. And please do subscribe to my page if you haven't done so yet. Or check out my website at metamorphicembodiment.com. So today we're going to be talking about fat fetishism. Yes, we are. So, in a society that's seriously obsessed with being thin and toned, it's quite the surprise when you find out that there are actually people who are turned on by putting on the pounds. Okay, kids, before you put on your judgment cap, let me give you some information on what I'm talking about. There are men who are called gainers, and they enjoy the physical act of gaining weight. It could just range from just bloating to one's belly to really taking on a lot of weight. Some gainers find sexual satisfaction from this. Some get off on making this a part of a fantasy with a specific partner, or it could be a relationship with an encourager or an admirer. What? So you mean there are men who are into gainers? Yes, that's what I mean. Okay, let's talk about this. An encourager is a person who enjoys the physical act of getting a man bigger. They could be skinny, muscular, or even fat themselves. Encouraging exists along a wide range, from guys who just want to cook for a gainer to being a cheerleader for them, to guys who enjoy forcing a gainer to eat large amounts of food. This is always a consensual thing, but for the most part is that the encouragers get sexually stimulated by a gainer. It's a turn on to be a feeder to the gainer. There's also an admirer, someone who is just into men who are bigger and overweight and enjoys a bigger man. They can be any size, but don't really take an active role that an encourager would take. This can either fall into the bear or chub chaser category. So, you may ask yourself at this point, what's the difference between just a man who is overweight and a gainer? Well, men who are overweight sometimes have just been born that way or are genetically fat. This may cause them not to appreciate the girth on them as a turn on, or may have some emotional effect on the outlook of their self-esteem. A gainer may be any size and sees this being bigger as positive, sexy, and something that could be appreciated. So being a gainer is a mental thing. It's about the act of growing big. So what do gainers and encouragers do? Well, every kind of sex that anyone else could do. Although sometimes there's belly play, using food as sexual stimulation, and a lot of visualization of growing bigger. Sometimes an encourager can just get off by talking to a gainer in an erotic way about eating. Anything's possible. So, if you're watching this video and you feel alone, there's quite a bit of information out there for potential gainers, encouragers, and admirers. There's a whole social connection site called Grommer.com, which is for men looking for other men to connect with around gaining and encouraging. I've been on this site for a couple of years, and one would be surprised to see that there is plenty of men who one may consider model perfect who really enjoy to be in the company of gainers. There is also a ton of videos on YouTube of men who are gainers, from men who are looking for encouragers, to men who are tracking their weight gain, to just videos of men wearing tight shirts and having their bloated bellies pop out underneath, or busting buttons. So think about it. You have a lot of information that you can find out about this. And fat fetishism is a subculture that not only dominates gay, but there are heterosexual men who are into feeding their women and encouraging their women to eat. So it's not only just a gay thing. So With every kind of fetish, there can be a downside. Yeah. Gaining, if done without moderation, can actually hurt the body. Overstuffing or overeating can create a lot of other physical or medical ailments, such as diabetes, heart attack, or high blood pressure. Some men are so attracted to the weight gain aspect or the belly of a man that they lose interest in another man if they lose weight. I've actually heard men say, I dumped him when he started going to the gym and losing weight. So that can be really hard on the self-esteem. Also harmful to you as a person emotionally. Connecting the act with your self-esteem. The only way I can have sex or be witnessed sexually if food is involved. Or if you're being controlled or pressured by somebody. So, when I work with men of size clients that are into gaining or feeding, I like to discuss the downsides and look at their core erotic theme, the CET, which I'll probably be doing a video in the future for you guys, and how that is attracted to this fetish. We also put placement on the body without the food, creating new pathways of joy and pleasure on how they feel in the body. And also honoring and loving the curves and sensual parts of the body. And as well focusing on the shame that may come up around the weight. I've had one client that was sort of 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the gaining community. He enjoyed the attention when he got from the feeders, but felt that the only way he can get attention and the only way he can meet these hot buff guys was because they were fetishizing him and only really wanted to play if there was the fantasy of feeding and encouraging around. He felt so not seen other than indulging in the other person's narrative. So we ended up working on boundaries and limits and how he can take pleasure in his own body for just being a sexual being himself. He didn't have to stop the fetish altogether, nor he wanted to, but to be in a place where he was advocating for himself as a plus-size man who needed other types of attention other than feeding and encouraging. When another client, we simply used hypnosis as a way to indulge with the fetish by putting him in a highly suggestible state and create a guided visualization of his belly bloating and expanding. It would allow him to gain all of that emotion without the actual gaining. So, while gaining and feeding are often considered fetishes, many within the gainer and feeder community report viewing them more as a lifestyle, identity, or sexual orientation. Yes, there is a community in this and you are not alone. So if you're watching this video and you feel like you're either a gainer or encourager or admirer, there are people around you. So let's review. A gainer is a guy who enjoys the act of getting bigger. An encourager or a feeder is men who enjoy the act of getting someone else bigger. A bloater is a man who likes to bloat or inflate their belly. They can either be thin or big, soda, water, a big meal. A maintainer, a man who has gained weight and wants to stay that size. An admirer is a guy who appreciates gainers and bloaters, but don't take on the encourager role. So hopefully you learned a little bit about fat fetishism and the whole gaining community. My name is JoJo Bear. You're watching Sex Talk with JoJo Bear. I am a somatic sex and intimacy coach, and I want to know your information about gaining. Do you have anything to say about it? Does this pique your interest? Did you learn something new? Let me know. Subscribe, make some comments below, and let me know what you think. Once again, this is JoJo Bear, and thank you for watching this episode of Sex Talk with JoJo Bear.